the ball, looks, out top to Evans, a three at the horn, does it go? And ASU has won it! And Happy New Year, Sun Devil Nation. Arizona State is 15-0. They've tied the school record for the longest winning streak in program history. And we welcome you to this week's edition of In the Huddle with Molly Miller, your weekly look inside Arizona State women's basketball. I'm Jeff Munn. We're coming to you from Blanco, Cocina y Cantina in Novus Place at 6th Street in Rural. And to my right and to the camera's left is the head coach of ASU women's basketball and one of two Sun Devils in the Drury University Hall of Fame, head coach Molly Miller. Hi, Coach.
That other one is my rock star of an assistant coach, Deja Bernard.
And she's going in Saturday.
She is. I'm so proud of her. What a full circle moment for me, you know, to have your coaching tree grow with being able to coach side by side with someone you coached in her collegiate career, and now she's getting into the Sports Hall of Fame. It's pretty cool. And
well-deserved, as a matter of fact. Another strong weekend for ASU, a win at the buzzer at Utah. The first loss of the season at BYU. I want to focus right off the top about the win at Utah on New Year's Eve. And we're going to get into a segment we call Miller's Moment, because there were a couple of plays very late in that game that demonstrate, I think, the mental toughness of your team. And it involves one play on offense and another on defense. And I'm going to let you take it from there.
Okay, yeah, I'll drive here. You know, when you're getting into crunch time, I think we've done a good job as a staff of trying to replicate these situations as best as possible. You probably can't get the heightened stress in there, but if you're going over into game situations, what I really liked about our group coming into this huddle, they were talking to each other. Like, are we switching screens? Are we staying screens? Who's over the ball? They were matched up. They were just locked in. So this is a defensive clinic right here. There's 27 seconds left. We're up by 1, so you got to get a stop. You have to get a stop.
Right.
And so right here we do a good job of, all right, everyone's matched up and solid. So at this point in time, we're really going to try to make the entry difficult without fouling, ball pressure without fouling, just be solid. Right here on the entry, Marley's just solid. We don't want to have any blow-bys to the rim at this point in time, so she's in a good stance. Gabby did a great job on that curl. So if I scope back in slow motion, Gabby's man curls to the basket right here, and she really throws her body and her hand towards the basket, so there's no opportunity for an uncontested layup. So proud of Gabby's effort on that curl to the rim. And then on the reversal, Gabby does a good job of staying in front, because that player underneath the basket could have tried to post her up for an easy bucket, but Gabby throws her hands, so she's not fouling. She's in front. She does a really good job with that. McKinna is on the ball with a high hand, so making passes tough, putting pressure on the basketball. And then we're just keeping our man in front at this point in time. So play this through. Gabby does a really good job on this cross screen down here. So she switches, and you can see her pointing. She actually tells Marley to switch and take hers. So she's yelling, take mine. And then on this down screen, McKinna Brackens does a great job of, we call it a switch to steal. So anytime there's a down screen in the center of the court, we're trying to switch this and make it really difficult. So Brackens switches, Marley takes her man, and they don't get anything off of this screening action. So at this point in time, we've been pretty solid with a bunch of action, even that screen we got through, and now they're at the top of the key. They don't have anything, and they have to call a timeout.
Yeah, and it's the beauty of that is it's late in the game, and coaches have to do this. You have to worry about how many timeouts you have, and you force them to basically burn 2 in one possession. That's very costly, having to burn 2 timeouts on just one possession of the ball.
Yeah, it was a defensive clinic, the way our kids were determined to get a stop and guard that possession. They ran a bunch of different actions, from basket cuts to cross screens to on-ball screens to down screens, and we guarded every single one of them to perfection. So really kudos to our girls for locking in to get that stop.
Now, there was an inbounds play later on that I know that you were really happy about.
Yeah, you know, Glove is a master. He probably has a library this thick of end-of-game situations. So we'll pick 2 or 3 to go through almost every practice at the end of game. We had practiced this one before break, actually practiced it for a 3 and the slip for a 2. So, in Glove's mind, it was, hey, they're all over Gabby and McKinna. I think we can get McKinna on a slip. Let's draw. I won't call the play call out, but let's draw up this play that we had practiced. So they had practiced timing, and to their credit again, they focused. It's at the end of practice. It's end of game situations. They could check out and just go through the motions. Well, when we got back from our break, we did a lot of end of game scenarios, and they were locked in, and it proves to be helpful. So Glove had the clipboard on this one. He was really, really good about really setting up Gabby as the inbounder. So when Gabby's the inbounder, you can see number 0 gets on her tight right away because she's a go-to player for us.
Right.
So she was really a decoy in this moment. So Brackens was setting a flare screen for Gabby, which was really misdirection. And out of that flare, number 12 and number 0 were so worried about Gabby that it left the slip to the basket open. So really proud of Amaya for getting open. Number 1, a little freshman, had to use pace, get open, and then she had to have the confidence to make this pass to Brackens on the slip. Brackens went up strong, got fouled. I think I was celebrating at that point because I think it was going to go in. Kind of toilet bowled around, but got fouled. Needed one for sure, but secured it with the second one. So some clutch pressure free throws for McKinna Brackens, who is a really good free throw shooter. Might have started a little iffy at the beginning, but she's a good free throw shooter. I'll have confidence every time she steps to the line. So in a game when there's 1 second left, game's on the line, you probably envision that as a little girl and not knowing when it's going to happen. But here it happened for her, and she made the right play. Good pass from Amaya, and then she sealed it with 2 free throws.
You're right about McKinna's improvement from the beginning of the season at the free throw line, and she is. You can depend on her in any kind of situation going to the line of those circumstances. And we talked about this after the game on Wednesday. You mentioned Jason Glover, and it goes back to the subject of the staff you've put together. It's a testament to you that you can defer. You're totally comfortable deferring to your staff in that kind of situation. But as you said, you know what kind of experience Jason has.
This is a collaborative effort, and I have assistants, but they are head coaches that assist, because every single one of my staff members could run their own program. So for me, we talk a lot, we collaborate a lot, we bounce ideas off one another. This was an idea he had for an end of bounds play, and I said, yeah, draw it up. I think that's brilliant to use Gabby kind of as a decoy, slip McKinna to the basket. And so, when you have those catalogs, and we've been doing this long enough, even back to our GCU days, we work really well off one another. We kind of know what one's thinking. We trust one another in these situations. So, we've empowered our staff to really have a voice. The scout's been great. Daniel Barber, who's going to be here later on the show, he's doing the UCF scout, and I was so impressed. We haven't played them yet once, and he's like going back and listening to audio and getting a play call and looking for hand signals of the person behind the bench. Like, everything is done to such detail that these staff members are so incredible, and they add to this winning. I mean, 15-1 is because of them. It's because of these players. Like, all that credit goes to the buy-in of the program.
Let me mention something, too. You made the comment at the end of the BYU game, and it's something we've talked about before, how tough this league is. This win on New Year's Eve is indicative of how tough the league is. And then 3 days later, Utah beats TCU in overtime in Salt Lake City. So the point is there's a lot of tough teams in the Big 12.
In women's basketball, there's parity.
Yes.
So, how many undefeated teams got knocked off in the span of a week? It's going to happen. It was a good, I think for us, it was when you're winning, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So this practice today was a great practice. We fixed a lot of things that we were exposed on. And I think for us, it was a good opportunity to grow, to learn. But also don't take for granted that every game could be March implication game.
Yeah.
And so if you're playing this BYU game, and I think we do play in the last home game of February 28th, yes, the last home game of the year, then that could determine your dancing fate. And so every day, I don't care if you're playing in December, January, February, you got to play it like this game matters, because it will at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it on the air, but the thought ran through my mind that game in late February, the game Saturday in Provo was really intense. I mean, the emotions were really at high levels. And I thought to myself, boy, fans better be here when they come in late February.
I would suggest it. We'll be ready.
There'll be an awful lot on the line. We're taping this on Monday. The UCF game, for the benefit of our radio audience, takes place the following evening. The Devils will be at TCU on Sunday. And I go back to the fact that they lost at Utah, and that should – I know how much you respect TCU, but it takes away maybe some kind of invincibility away from them to see that they lost at Utah.
Sure, and I think especially with this team, every time we step on the court, whoever we're facing, we're gonna bring our A game. That wasn't the case against BYU. You know, I think it wasn't that we lost; it was how we lost. We got outplayed, and that was the topic of conversation amongst us. And you know, we fixed that, and I think our players understand. I think they've had growth moments. I think that's what sport's all about, is learning through this and bettering yourself. So in the grand scheme of things, you know, whoever we're playing, whether it's the TCUs of the league or, you know, we would just have played UCF, which we haven't yet. But no matter what the record or who we're playing, we have to bring our best. We have to bring our best every single day, and we got to control the controllables.
And for the benefit of our radio audience, the game is Wednesday night, 6:30. We'll be on the air at 6. Get your tickets at thesundevils.com. We really want to see you out there at Desert Financial. If you're watching us on television, the next home game will be on the 17th of January against Kansas. That's a Saturday at 2 o'clock. And again, tickets are available at thesundevils.com. As Coach mentioned, we've got a great lineup of guests again tonight. Assistant Coach Daniel Barber will be with us a little bit later on. Up next, two of our outstanding Sun Devil women's basketball student athletes, McKinna Brackens and Martina Fantini, will be here, and we'll visit with them right after this break. Welcome back to In the Huddle with Molly Miller. Two of the three people up here play basketball. One of them sits and talks about basketball. For 10 points, can you guess who's who? This is our player segment of In the Huddle with Molly Miller, and I am Jeff Munn. To my right, to your left on the TV screen, we're very pleased to have as our special guest. To my immediate right, Martina Fantini, and to my distant right, McKinna Brackens. And welcome them, please, to In the Huddle with Molly Miller. Great to have you both here. And which one of you wants to start? See, I did this last week with Deborah and Marley. I just said, who wants to talk first?
You can go. Okay.
Oh, UK. McKinna is a transfer from UNLV. You and I did a pregame interview about a week ago, and we talked a lot about coming from Las Vegas. But one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about, that UNLV program has had an awful lot of success the last few years. And people have come to me and talked about our last-second victories, and there have been a number of them. And I think part of the reason that this team knows what to do in close situations is because so many of you have come from very successful programs. And I'll let you just comment on that. You already have a great deal of experience with winning basketball when you were at UNLV.
I mean, it's not over until the clock says 0. So I feel like being in a bunch of different situations, you know that any game is winnable at any time. And we went over that today. Like, we did more situations. Any game is winnable with any time left on the clock.
Absolutely. And that was proven not only at Oregon State, at Gonzaga, and again at Utah to close out the calendar year. The other thing is, now I do extensive research, friends, when I have players coming on the program. And you did a little Q&A before the season started that's on the website, and you were asked how to describe yourself. And you included the word weird and goofy. Would you like to expand on that for the benefit of our audience?
Sure. I don't know. I just like to have a good time. I like to make people laugh, even at practice. Like when the vibes get a little low, I like to cheer everybody up, make somebody laugh so that we get back going. Sometimes I'll just do something goofy and dance or something just to get vibes back up. But I don't know. I'm just.
Do you have any input on the music that is played before the game when you're on the bus to the arena?
Yes, I do get the aux most of the time on the bus. And I'll play anything from Disney music to R&B and rap, anything just to get everybody hyped and dancing and everything before the game.
Disney music?
Yes, I love Disney music.
Favorite Disney song?
Ooh. I don't know.
Favorite Disney movie?
High School Musical 2. So anything High School Musical. I
hadn't thought about High School Musical 2. My daughter watched it a lot. But my daughter's now 27, so she never talks about that with me. Martina, you're from Florence, Italy, and I remember reading somewhere, here's something that's rather obvious. You enjoy cooking, and so the obvious part is I'm sure people just assume you cook Italian food.
Yeah, I really like cooking. I think it's something you learn growing up in Italy. Sometimes I cook for my teammates, and they were really happy about it. Yeah, I think it reconnects me with my family, with the place I come from. So when I have the chance, I love to cook here for the people that are my family now here. So.
Well, and now when you make pasta, you're not running over to the corner store and just grabbing stuff off the shelf. You're going to go. There is I don't know if we can give out the name, but there's a very good Italian grocery in Scottsdale who happens to be a sponsor of ASU baseball. So maybe I can mention the name, but just the same, you're going to cook pasta. You're going for top A stuff. You're not just going down to Circle K, who is also a sponsor. Sorry about that, guys. And getting a box of pasta. You want the top level stuff.
I mean, yes, if I have to cook for other people, of course, I need the best ingredients because everything is different, But if I have to do a quick lunch for myself, everything is good because I think we cook different from like how American people do, so we can make a little better. Even if it's like, dollar store pasta.
I want to expand on that, but first let me just mention Circle K is a wonderful place to go and get coffee, potato chips, the Polar Pop. I have a membership. Please don't take away my discount on gasoline, Circle K. Thank you. All right. Anything is good, but you go to Italian restaurants here?
No, I didn't. I did a couple of times, and I was like, the feeling I had, it was delusional because, of course, it's like made for American people taste and what they like, so it's very different from what I'm used to. Even after practice, when you have like lunch, meal, sometimes we have pasta, and everyone is always super happy about it. And like, damn, I have to eat alone at home because I don't like this pasta.
McKinna, can you give a review of Martina's cooking?
Oh, it was really good. It tasted way different than like stuff that we have here in America, and I thought it was really good. She did a great job.
Thank you.
Really? Mm-hmm. Now, I do notice there is a difference between northern. See, you bring up food. I'm going to get zeroed in right on food. There's a difference between Northern Italian and Southern Italian. Northern Italian is not quite as tomato-based as Southern Italian cooking. So is your cooking more Northern Italian or Southern Italian?
Well, I'm from Florence, which is in the middle. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we certainly narrowed that down, didn't we?
No, I lived 1 year in Sicily, which is like the southern island, and of course they use a lot more of tomatoes, and they use a lot of fish too because they're like there's an island, so they of course have fish. But I really like, I don't know, every kind of cuisine from Italy.
Okay.
I think everything, tomato or not, is.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. I love Italian food. Look at me. Of course I love Italian food. I mean, well, we won't go into that, but let me turn back to McKinna for a minute and talk about one of the things you and I did talk about in our interview before it was the Utah game, about being in Las Vegas. There's this sometimes a perception from people who don't spend a lot of time there that everything revolves around Las Vegas Boulevard, the Strip. And it's actually the opposite. You can go, if you're a local, you can go for like months and never be on the Strip, right?
Yes, I used to like avoid the Strip at all costs. I didn't want to be around the Strip, and you don't have to go there if you don't want to. We would always try to go to Summerlin, which is like the nicer part. And yeah, I mean, we live like 8 minutes away from the Strip, so like the traffic and stuff would get a little crazy sometimes, but like I avoided it. So.
Did you ever get to Summer League? the NBA
Oh,
Summer
yeah,
League?
I did. That was
Yeah.
cool to watch. That is
Yeah.
really fun to watch. Me and my teammates would go and we would watch some games. And we got some gear one time and we got to go on the court during the halftime of a game. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just names, NBA names that hang out at those games. And that's got to be a lot of fun. I'm sure you ran into a few familiar faces, too.
We did, yeah. And like it would be people that weren't actually playing, but they were like on the team, just watching the team. I know we saw like LaMelo Ball. He was walking like by our locker room one time, so we got to take a picture with him and all that. But there was a lot of cool people.
That's awesome. Martina, our fans may not realize this. You played professionally in Italy before coming to the U.S., right?
Yeah, it's pretty common in Italy because you don't play for your high school or for college. Like you play in clubs since you're very young, so it's very common to play like the league of your age and join a professional team just to learn, have more experience. So I played to there's like 2 leagues, A1 and like A2. I played 1 year A2, like we were all like 17 years old, and the whole team made to the A2. We were like very happy about it, and then I played 1 year in A1 like last year, and we had a very good season. But I think you learn a lot because you play with very experienced people, older people. There were a bunch of American players too, so I think the level is very high. And I get to learn a lot.
I was just going to ask you, there's so many WNBA players that go over and play in Europe in the wintertime. So you just mentioned it. You got to play against a lot of players that our fans would be very familiar with.
Yeah. There's a bunch of players who during the winter they play in the like Italian league. It's very fun because you watch them during summer like playing at the highest possible level in the league, and then you can face them and you scout the game against them. And I think it's an occasion to learn a lot because like seeing them playing basketball is very fun.
You also, McKinna, you've had it the best of both worlds, being in Las Vegas. The Aces play up there. And then you come down here, and the Phoenix Mercury get to the WNBA Finals, and oh, by the way, they play Las Vegas. So that had to be fun to watch.
That was very fun to watch. We got to go to a bunch of Aces games, and we went to a lot of the Mercury games. So like it was cool to see both sides of that and the difference of like the style of plays of the both teams.
Yeah, and it's the Aces games. I've been to a couple of them myself at the Mandalay Bay at Michelob Ultra Arena, and they really do a nice job putting on a show. Gee, what a shock. They know how to put on a show in Las Vegas. But it is fun. It's fun to go to Mercury games. I mean, my goodness, it was such a fun summer. Absolutely. The ownership of the Phoenix Mercury in town here at Blanco tonight. That's not true. All right. I know the two of you are having a lot of fun through the first 16 games of the season, and I've talked to other players about this. This is a fun group. You like being with each other, and that really says something because you all kind of came together at once over the summer, so it's really something. I'll let you talk about that, Martina.
Yes, I came here later because I played with the national team this
Right.
summer, and I was a little scared at first because, everyone met in June. They already have like worked together 2 or 3 months. But at first, I got this feeling that the group was very like put together. Everyone wanted the best from each other, believed in each other. We have, I think, trust. And yeah, I think we really work good together. We all want to win. We all want to grow. And I think we all have trust in the coaching staff. And I think that's a good thing because we learn and we want to grow every day.
And I'm certain you agree with that, McKinna.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like a bunch of us came from other schools, and you all have the same common goal. We all knew what we wanted to do when we got here. We wanted to turn the program around and win. So I feel like it's easy to become friends and like merge together and create bonds when you all want the same end goal.
And it's so far so good. We're very glad both of you are here and a part of the Sun Devil women's basketball program, and we thank you for coming down and being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Martina Fantini, McKinna Brackens with us. Martina Fantini and McKinna Brackens. Up next, Daniel Barber, Sun Devil assistant coach, right after this on the Sun Devil Radio Network. Back we go to In the Huddle with Molly Miller, your weekly look inside Arizona State women's basketball. I'm Jeff Munn. We've had a number of players on this program already, And when you talk to them about coming to Arizona State, they always use the same phrase. I talked to DB. I talked to DB. So here's DB. Arizona State assistant coach Daniel Barber joins us now on In the Huddle with Molly Miller. Oh, come on. You can do better than that. Thank you.
Thank you,
He
Jeff.
got
Thank
all
you.
these players here. I mean, you had a big role in getting the players here.
That it did.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. Things are good, and things are good in part because you've done such an exceptional job in helping Coach Miller bring student athletes into this program. And I know that's something that you have a lot of experience with going back to when you were at Penn State and Clemson, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's one of the reasons why I'm here, and I'm blessed to be able to build relationships with a lot of different types of young ladies and a lot of different people, and that's one of the gifts that God's blessed me with.
So Coach Miller recruited you.
She does. She's a great recruiter.
Is
She's
she?
recruited our entire staff.
Okay, tell me a little bit about how she recruited you.
Oh, I mean, we've got a chance to know each other. We actually have the same agent, so it's kind of been a good opportunity for us to kind of connect. But the opportunity for us, for me and my family, to move from Pennsylvania at the time to move to Phoenix, Arizona, it was something that we couldn't pass up on. The opportunity to be with the winner, you see what we're already doing here. I mean, she only lost one game in her entire year in 2025. Who wouldn't want to be a part of something like that?
Yeah, and that is a note, and it's worthy of applause, too. Why not? In regular season games, Molly did not lose a game in 2025. That's pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
I heard more applause. It's okay. You can applaud some more if you want about that. You came to Arizona State from Penn State, and I want to talk about a couple of things related to that. First of all, we were there in early December.
Yes, sir.
And you've been at a number of schools, so I don't think it was all that weird, I guess is not the right word. But there was, I'm sure, some emotions going on. When we went to State College.
We had to win. Obviously, just the opportunity to be under Coach Keeger and her staff last year was a blessing too as well. I enjoyed my time there in Pennsylvania. My family enjoyed their time there too as well. But anytime you're standing across from someone, I'm a competitor. I want to win every single time you step on the court, and it felt no different then. Obviously, I appreciate everything that I did and all my time that I spent there, but a win's a win, and we had to get it done.
Absolutely, and we did get it done that night in State College. And I think one of the other incentives about coming to Arizona, I remember that night in State College, I think it was 6 degrees outside.
Yeah,
that was not pleasant.
It's been an easy adjustment for me and my family. We're from Florida. We're from Florida, so this is the closest thing to Florida that we've been. Since our time at the University of Florida. That was the last time I was in the state of Florida. So very blessed to be back here in some warm weather. And honestly, December, January, this feels great right now. To be out, be able to be outside, and to be able to not see snow everywhere. This is a blessing.
Yeah, and it's a dry heat. I'm sure you were told that before you got out here.
Yes, I felt it, but I'll take it. Anytime over snow.
Absolutely. How much has recruiting changed? The biggest change, obviously, is that the transfer portal has changed recruiting coordinators' approaches to what they do. If I asked you what has changed, is that the first thing you think is the transfer portal has changed what you do?
Not necessarily. I would say money has changed everything because it's no longer necessarily just about relationships. Back in the day, you could out-recruit people because you have a better relationship with them or a certain family member. A lot of that still matters. There are still kids who recruit based off of relationships, but ultimately, a lot of it now comes down to the mighty dollar.
Right.
And I think you saw something about Kim Oki brought that up the other day about parity. That's the reason why. There is some truth to that.
But the comment that I hear, and it's very pleasing to me, when you talk to the players on this roster, and you ask them about what got you here to Arizona State, they'll immediately talk about relationships with their teammates and relationships with Coach Miller and all of you on the staff.
Yeah, no, I mean, Coach Miller has driven that from day one. She always has an open door policy. That's including for me. She'll tell you I'm always knocking on my door. She always knows because she knows about my shoes when I walk in. But I mean, just the opportunity to be able to build those relationships both on and off the court with our ladies, that goes a long way. The relationships that we have with some of the people that I were able to bring transfers in this year, it all started with relationships, even competing. Because Marley Washington, both Steph and I both had competed against in the ACC.
That's right.
So it wasn't necessarily an actual relationship that we had, but it was a relationship formed from me being at Clemson, Steph being at Louisville, us both knowing Marley and the type of player that she was, and understanding how that fit directly into what Coach Miller wanted to bring here to ASU.
Now, Coach Miller was mentioning in our first segment about your game preparation. You have the scout on UCF, and I do want to get to that in a moment. But the other thing that related to recruiting is, in this day and age, I would think that there are some aspects of it that have become more challenging because you've got to know about everybody all over the country. High school, Division I, even Division II, or mid-majors, or Power 4 conferences. But the plus side is that technology allows you immediate communication with players who reach out to you and want to talk to you about coming to Arizona State, right?
Yes, sir. And I will change it. It's not just all over the country. It's all over the world.
That's right.
Obviously, including with us having Martina on our roster. I mean, it is. There's rarely many secrets out there nowadays with social media. It's rarely that you haven't seen a player or at least know about a player. So technology has definitely helped with that. But I will tell you this, when it comes to this recruiting process, even when you don't get kids out of high school, odds are 50% of kids are going to transfer. Right. So that relationship piece that you build, that we may not get them exactly now, that may be fine. You still want to have that strong relationship with them because later on down the line, you just never know. Those kids may pop back up and be someplace that you need them right away.
Well, and a great example of that, and without going into specific names, the last couple of days, Coach Dillingham with football has made contact with players that he recruited when he was an assistant coach at Oregon. So that's a prime example of what you're talking about. Coach Miller talked about your prep work for UCF.
Yes, sir.
And how you get it right down to the most minute details, and even things like hand signals that an opponent uses. And I got to think, boy, you're really putting in a lot of hours to break down all that film. I keep saying film. It's computer stuff.
Yes. I mean, any advantage that I can provide to our young ladies and provide to Coach Miller for us to win, I'm going to do. So I've always been described as a very detail-oriented person. I take pride in every single aspect of what I do. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my daughter, all of those things matter to me. And I do the same thing when it comes to our scouting. How you do anything is how you do everything. I know that's one of the mantras that we live by here at ASU. And for me, my job is to provide the best opportunity for our young ladies to win. And I wouldn't be doing them a disservice if I didn't expand every opportunity it was for that to happen.
Now, she mentioned the fact that opponents sometimes will use hand signals, and we're all familiar, basketball fans, of when a guard is setting up the offense, they may signal a play with a number, but does it get more detailed than that in terms of hand signals from the bench? I mean, I spent a lot of years in baseball, and sign stealing something that people were worried about all the time.
Of course.
So is it down to that now where you're looking for certain signals, not just play one or play two, but
it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be a thumbs up. It could be a hair swing. People are getting creative as ways to disguise what they're trying to run. But I will tell you, Deja, who sits at the front of our bench, and I think Ashley too as well, they do a great job of finding anything that a team is doing to give us an advantage to know exactly what it's run. And even our GA Riley, I'll tell you, when it came to our blob slobs for this next upcoming game, she's always searching, watching back TV film, different copies of TV games to be able to get us any advantage that we can have to prepare our young ladies.
And I'm glad you mentioned Riley. Riley Richardson, a former Sun Devil guard, is on Molly's staff. Yes, absolutely. Give her a round of applause. She was part of some really outstanding Sun Devil women's basketball teams not that long ago. You get into a thing where you're working and you're working and you're going and you're going, and sometimes career-oriented people, driven people, they forget to stop and look at the big picture. Career goals. I'm certain there's some things that you look at your career and say you might like to try down the road.
I mean, Obviously, you have short-term goals right now. Obviously, really focused on this season. That's my number one priority. Obviously, always looking to add into what are we trying to build. Obviously, there's a transfer portal coming up here soon.
Right.
Trying to always have our ducks in a row of where we're looking at next. So I'm pretty a be where your feet are type of person. But ultimately, if God blesses me enough, I would love to be a head coach one day. But as for right now, my number one focus is getting these young ladies to our goal, the NCAA tournament. I think we have a tournament team. I think that we have the players to compete in the NCAA tournament. I think they deserve that opportunity to be able to showcase themselves beyond just this Phoenix area in the Big 12. I think we have a national brand that Coach Miller is building here, and that's my number one focus right now, and that's my job.
And Coach Barber has experience with that because you were an NCAA tournament participant both at Penn State and Clemson, right?
I was at Clemson. Yes, sir.
Just missed at Penn State because we know Coach Keeger has had some really good teams there and at Marquette over the years. I can't thank you enough for coming and doing this evening. We've gotten to know each other a little bit on our travels. After the win at Gonzaga, Coach Barber pointed out to me that it seemed like I'd gone through a stretch of like 10 games, both men and women, where it kept coming down to the last possession, and he was just checking to make sure I was okay. I'm doing fine.
I'm always going to check on you.
A 10-point win would be good.
Listen, it would be good for us, too, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll take that anytime.
We're very proud to have you as part of our program, Coach.
I'm very grateful to be here, sir.
Thanks for being here this evening.
Yes, sir.
Assistant Coach Daniel Barber with us, and it is great to have him as part of the program. And we're back with Head Coach Molly Miller right after this on the Sun Devil Radio Network. Go to our final segment of In the Huddle with head coach Molly Miller. By the way, we're here every Monday night at 6 to tape this program at Blanco Cocina y Cantina in the Novus Place at 6th Street in Rural. Come over here anytime for great Mexican food. You got to do the salsa. The salsa is incredible. It's just fantastic. And again, you're here on Monday nights, and obviously the show replays on radio and television. The last segment last week, we got into talking about a little bit about coaches' quotes, and I started thinking, I over the years, I've collected a ton of quotes from coaches, and I'm sure you're familiar with Larry Brown, the longtime NCAA, NBA coach. Somebody asked him one time, he won like 1,000 games, NCAA championships, NBA championships, and a reporter asked him one time, what's your most memorable victory? And he immediately responded by saying, I don't remember anything about the wins, but I remember every detail of the losses. Would that describe you?
It describes every coach in America.
Yeah, I bet.
I believe. Yeah, I mean, you're wired to win every game, compete at the highest level. You know, this is what we're doing this for, is to have success. And so I get like a physical reaction after a loss, like you can't sleep, you can't eat. This is your head spinning. You're cross-eyed from all the game film you're doing. So, but that's what's special about sport to me, is the highs are high and the lows are low, but you're on the journey with the most special people that make life impactful, life memorable. You know, these moments are worth it because of the people around you. So you lean on each other in the trying times. You celebrate in the joyful and triumphant times. You learn and grow in the challenges. And that's what it's all about for me. So do I hate losing? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But sitting here, 15-1 and thinking, wow, we played 5 out of the last 6 games were road games, and we went 4-1, and this team was strangers 7 months ago, and here we are, trying to flip the page on what success looks like for this program. So in that moment, I have to take a step back from how I'm feeling and anxious, want to get the next win, and say, this is pretty cool what we're doing. You
mentioned in the first segment that the way your team responded in the first practice after BYU was pleasing to you.
Yeah, I mean, you have a heart-to-heart, and you're wondering, are they engaged? Does this matter? Do they understand? I hope, as coaches, we don't want to win more than they want to win. And I came out of that locker room, that practice, feeling like, oh, we got this. We're fine. And so that can make me rest a little bit easier at night, knowing I think these players have the same goals, and it's not this facade of, a fool's gold of 15-1. No, they're going to attack every game. They're going to learn. They're going to embrace. They're going to grow. I've never felt, even like Martina, I'll give her props. I'm hard on her. It's hard to be hard on that sweet Italian voice. She is just one of the nicest human beings, but I push her as a freshman because I believe in her, because I know what her potential is, and I don't want to sell her short in pushing her, which, by the way, she just got accepted to the Barrett's Honors College here, so I'm really proud.
Outstanding.
On and off the court, her hard work has been paying off, so that's pretty cool. And then, Brackens and I had a pretty good text exchange yesterday, and she's embraced every growth moment with open arms, and that's just the epitome of who this team is. You got to hear from two of them tonight, two of them in our last show. You'll get to hear from more of them as they come on, but they're such a great group. So it makes these moments, you want these core memories more than scoreboard memories.
Yeah.
Because I'll erase the scoreboard at BYU. I'm ready to play them again tomorrow, but that'll come. But right now, I'm really concentrated on the growth of this team and how we're moving forward.
I'm glad you mentioned academics, because the team as a group has really posted some strong academic numbers. That's been a consistent thing with Arizona State women's basketball over the years, and one of the things we've always been very proud of is that the student athletes take full advantage of the opportunity to learn and grow in the classroom as well as on the court.
Yeah, shout out Erica and Paul. They spend many hours manipulating schedules so it works around practice time, understanding how progress towards degree works, getting tutoring hours in, making sure they're communicating with teachers. It's another job in itself, so we're really fortunate to have the support staff that supports our kids becoming a student athlete.
We're taping this, as I mentioned, on Monday, and we're skipping past a little bit the UCF game for the benefit of the TV audience, and we're going to look at TCU for a moment. It always kind of makes me chuckle when fans will say, what are you going to do against this team? How are you going to handle this? Flip the question around. Ask TCU how they're going to handle Arizona State on Sunday in Fort Worth, right?
Yeah, our defensive pressure is something you definitely have to prepare for, and it's hard to prepare for. Coaches in the past have told me they've played 7-on-5 just to try to compete with our defensive pressure. But, I thought we've got some good. They've got a good post player. Obviously Iowa State has a good post player. Well, in the non-conference, we played one of the better post players in the country, in Gracie Merkel, and had a good showing with her. So I think we can take past games of what worked well, what hasn't worked well for this team, devise really good game plans. Obviously, we've got good scouts across the board from our assistants who work tirelessly on those. And so we always have a good game plan going in. But, yeah, I'd like to think that they've got a tough task ahead of them preparing for us.
Yeah, how about it? 3 o'clock tip-off on Sunday with a pregame at 2:30 on KDUS AM 1060. As exciting as things have been for you and for the fans with this program, I know you want to get as many members of the Sun Devil family involved and get them a chance to experience what's going on here. So I know you have some exciting news to share about a ticket opportunity for Sun Devil Nation.
Yeah, when I think of Sun Devil athletics, I think of the greatness, and then I think of the support around that greatness. So right now we've got hockey in season, men's basketball in season, a lot of different sports beginning to start up now too. Obviously, football just finished their season. So I know if you're a season ticket holder in hockey, men's basketball, or football, we want to offer you just free tickets to any women's game of your choice. There'll be a link. But we want to make this family one big family. If you haven't been to a game, or if you have been to a game, welcome back, and tickets on us. I've been really excited about the momentum we're generating, and I just want to share that with our Sun Devil family. And it's a nod to our administration, who wants energy in the building, wants to get people exposed to the brand if they haven't seen it. If they have seen it, become hooked and continue to support and enjoy the brand of basketball that we're playing.
Well, I think our fans are the best salesmen for the product, because, as we mentioned, the Colorado game, 7,800 were in attendance, and they all had a great time. Absolutely. And it's true. The people who come and experience the game a lot of times can be your best salesmen, because they go out and tell their friends, fellow Sun Devils, hey, you got to get a ticket and come to a women's basketball game.
Yeah, we know that we may not be the most talented team on the court every time we face an opponent. But we better be the most hardworking,
Right.
and we better be first to ball. We better be diving on the floor for loose balls. We better be rooting for our teammates, coming over with a pep in the step to the bench, having that bench energy, that effort, that good attitude. I think fans can appreciate that brand of basketball.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. They do appreciate it, and we heard it that night against Colorado. We'll definitely hear it in the stands against UCF. And again, as you're watching this on television, your next opportunity to come and experience Sun Devil women's basketball will be Saturday, January 17th against Kansas, 2 o'clock at Desert Financial Arena. And you can get tickets at thesundevils.com. You got to get down here and experience this because this is an awful lot of fun. I know I've talked to you about the interaction you have with the other ASU head coaches. And I always think of Greg Powers has got to be one that's got to be a lot of fun to be around because he gets pretty wound up during hockey games.
Yeah, he texts me before every game. He texts me after every game. Like, what head coach in season is doing that? Greg Powers, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a testament to the type of character head coaches we have, but also genuinely rooting for one another. You know, we are Sun Devils for life, and we are one big family, so we want to see the sports teams do well. And I mentioned this to you before, only a coach really knows what a coach goes through in the
Right.
grinds of season. So it's also a little wink and a nod towards, I see your hard work, I see what you're doing, keep at it. And so I really appreciated that from our coaches.
Well, the other thing tied to that, you mentioned the coaches, the administration. You talk about the support you get from the administration. We've a lot of the administrators will just show up on the road. We had Marcus Williams in Provo. And I know how much that means to you to have administrators come and support you, especially away from home.
Yeah, they want to support. And, you know, Marcus has been great in my transition from GCU to here. And it takes a village to raise a kid. We're raising 15 of them,
Yeah.
you know, and then multiply that times 26 teams for these administrators. So their support, and I also believe they really care. Like, they genuinely want the student athletes to succeed. And you think about how many people are in these buildings working for the student athletes. I never want that to get lost in our players, and I don't think it does. They appreciate it, but we're all working for them.
Right.
And when you have that much care and passion and a group of people directed towards young people, you know, Graham says it all the time, like, these are going to be good stewards of the community. We're a talent-generating organization. And so what better place to start than with student athletes, with people that care about them and their success. And
your players also have been really good at getting involved in the community. We talked about that in the first show this year.
Yeah, and we want to do that more and more. You know, it starts with, here's a platform that you've been given. Very fortunate to be given that platform. What are we going to do with it?
Right.
You know, we want to make sure that when there's little eyes on us, we are representing good role models and hopefully inspiring someone to want to do anything they're passionate about, a sport, cheer, dance, band, acting, whatever it is. And then, you know, when you can give back to the youth and make that type of difference in someone's life, we just think that's so important. And so when we have little kids coming down after the game and taking pictures with our players and asking for autographs, and our players are gracious to spend some time after they spent 40 hard minutes, whether it was cheering on the bench or active play, that they spend some time with those kids, and it just means the world, and we definitely want to leave our mark.
And that's a great way to wrap up the show. Coach, I appreciate it. We'll look forward to great things against UCF and at TCU, and we'll talk to you on the show next week.
Thank you.
Head coach Molly Miller, thank you for being with us. And for all of our guests and head coach Molly Miller, I'm Jeff Munn. Wednesday's UCF, Sunday is at TCU. We'll see you next week on In the Huddle with Coach Molly Miller on the Sun Devil Radio Network.